Many of my clients will come to me, they say, Jason, I've been dating this guy for a few months. Things seem to have been going great, but I'm just not sure if he's in love with me or feels the same way that I do. Now, if you're in this position, you're probably frustrated not knowing where your relationship stands. Maybe you've been overanalyzing this with a bunch of your girlfriends in hopes of understanding how your partner really feels. Or maybe you've just been anxiously tiptoeing around the subject with him to no avail. Well, you shouldn't have to stand on pins and needles, especially when it comes to your own love life. Thanks to years of research surveying both men and women worldwide, I've come up with 6 tried and true ways to know if a man is saying you are the one. Now, can you guess what they are besides him just saying those 3 magic words?
I love you.
In this video, I'm going to explain the signs to look for to know if a man is in love with you. Now, it's important to remember that men have different ways of expressing their love than women, which is why you might not even realize it when he's trying to show you he loves you. Listen, maybe your partner hasn't yet said the phrase, I love you, but he said it in other ways. Let's dive into some of the more surprising ways he might be showing you he's in love with you without you even knowing it. So here's 6 ways to know if he's in love with you. Number 1, he makes you a priority. A man who loves you is going to make you a priority by spending time with you, whether that's hanging out at home and watching a movie or going out on a nice date. He's never going to make you feel like he's just penciling you into his schedule. He actually wants to see you often, and he doesn't just tell you that, he actually makes it happen. Maya Angelou said, never make someone a priority when all you are to them is an option. If he's in love with you, you'll never feel like he just called you the last minute to see you because his friends maybe canceled on him or just because he's bored. His words are going to line up with his actions. For example, one of our clients, Emily, she normally went for men who were just handsome and charming. Now, she told us about a man that she dated for about 6 months named Ryan. And Ryan would say everything she wanted to hear, like, you're different than other girls, or I just love being with you. But every time they met up, they would grab a quick bite and end up back at her house where she slept with him. And they laid in bed for about 15 minutes after, and then he would have to rush out the door to do something, like one of the times he had to pick up his uncle's best friend's girlfriend at 10 p.m. on a Saturday night. Now, Emily would often text Ryan trying to make plans, and he'd make up excuses, or even worse, he'd agree and then cancel. She would always say yes if he asked to hang out with her, even if he reached out 30 minutes before, because she was afraid she wouldn't see him again. Now, this is just a perfect example of how Emily was just an option to Ryan rather than a priority. Well, after completing my premium program, Emily actually met a great guy who took her on awesome dates, was eager to carve out whole chunks of his schedule just to see her, and they've been together for 4 years now and recently became engaged. Looking back, she can't even believe that she spent so much time chasing a guy who told her everything she wanted to hear, but never put her first. Number 2, he introduces you to his inner circle. Now, if the man you're dating never wants to introduce you to his friends or family, you should immediately take that as a red flag, because someone who's in love with you will want the most important people in his life to actually meet you. Not only will he want to show off how sexy and smart and funny you are, but he's going to want to see what they think about you. His family and friends know him the best, so he'll want to see their opinion on if you both seem like a good match. And he'll be proud to have you on his arm. He's going to want the world to know that you are with him. And that brings us to number 3. Number 3 is he makes it known publicly that he's in a relationship with you. Now, have one of your friends, or maybe even you, dated a guy who just can't stop posting selfies or pictures of his food, and yet never puts up a picture of him and his girlfriend? Unfortunately, if a man isn't making any effort to show the world that he's got a girlfriend, well, it might be because he doesn't want other women to know, because it would ruin his chance of sleeping around. Now, this may seem shallow, but a man who's in love with you, he's going to make your relationship publicly known. Whether he does that by changing his status on Facebook or posting pictures of you together on his social media channels, or maybe even just going out with you on the town. You know, on my second date with my wife, I brought her to a bar in Wrigleyville in Chicago where my friends were playing in a Weezer cover band. She ended up meeting a whole bunch of people from my social circle, and I was happy. I wanted her to have an opportunity to meet my friends and learn more about who I spend time with. I didn't post a lot on social media, but I let her know that it was fine if she posted pictures of us online, if that's what she wanted. Remember, you need to focus on his actions, not just what he says. If he wants to be in a committed, long-term relationship with you, he's not going to have any issue presenting you as his girlfriend to anyone who asks, or if you run into anyone on the street. He's going to be proud that he's with you. Number 4, he takes the time to understand your perspective. Well, this can be a little bit tricky because it can be hard for men and women to admit that they're wrong or even take the time to look at things from a different perspective. Men, especially ones who've been single for a long period of time, they're used to doing things their own way. And they hate when a woman, even one they love, offers them advice or tells them how to do something differently. But if a man is in love with you, he's going to want nothing more than to make you happy. And part of making someone happy and being in a healthy relationship is learning how to compromise and empathize with your partner. And if your partner truly loves you, he's going to show you that he's listening to you. He's going to ask what he can do to resolve a fight. And he's going to try as hard as possible to see things from your point of view. If he's wrong, he should apologize. Or sometimes, even more difficult, he may even try to bite his tongue to avoid an argument. A man who isn't in love with a woman, he's not going to have time for fighting. He's just going to remove himself from the situation, whether that means leaving the house or just ghosting her altogether. But a man who's in love, he's going to take the time to hear you out because you are his priority. Now, personally, it's difficult for me to hear that I'm in the wrong. My immediate visceral reaction, I just want to run. I just want to avoid the conflict. But I know that the longer I go without addressing the situation, the worse it's going to get. So if Kathy and I have a disagreement, I'm going to do my best to push myself to talk it out because that's what she needs and ultimately what we both need to resolve the situation. Sometimes being in a relationship and moving through conflict, it's uncomfortable. In past relationships, I would just avoid it. I would avoid the conflict completely. But with my wife, I know that I don't really have any other options than to work through it. And I'm learning that pain is actually a pathway to growth and intimacy as long as you're both committed to resolving issues instead of avoiding them. Number 5, he gives you gifts. A man who's in love with you is going to treat you with gifts. And that doesn't just mean physical. It can mean sweet, simple things, maybe flowers or chocolates, or could be jewelry or dates or big trips, but can also be some things that aren't wrapped in little blue boxes or tied up with a bow. For some men, gift giving comes in the form of just leaving you a small love note or standing by your side during a hard time. Could mean going to long, maybe boring work outings with you or just doing little jobs for you around the house. My father-in-law does a great job of this. He actually shows his love by cooking. He's a surgeon. He's on his feet all day long. He comes home from work after, maybe hours and hours on surgery, but he still spends hours every single week cooking dinner and inviting family over to share meals because he knows how much she loves family meals. Now, this is a big gift that shows he loves her, but doesn't cost a bunch of extra money. Number 6, he says, I love you, and consistently shows it through his actions. You might think it's obvious that a man is in love with you if he tells you he loves you, but it's just not so simple. Some men are going to say, I love you to a woman just as a means of getting something they want, whether it's sex or money or just attention. It's not enough for a man to say those 3 magic words. He has to prove he means what he says with his actions. Now let's just review the actions a man should be taking to show you he loves you. First of all, he'll make you a priority. Second, he'll introduce you to his inner circle. Third, he makes it publicly known that he's in a relationship with you. And 4, he takes the time to understand your perspective. And 5, he gives you gifts, big or small. Now, if the man you're with is performing these actions on a consistent basis, you're going to know that he's telling you the truth when he tells you that he's in love with you. Now that you know how to tell if a man is in love with you, you'll be able to understand if the man in your life is serious about your relationship and looking for a long-term commitment. Think critically for a second about how he does or doesn't show his love for you in these ways, because you deserve to be loved by someone who makes you feel happy and appreciated and special. I know you're an ambitious woman and you've done everything in your power to have a great life, whether it's chasing your career goals or raising your family or just being a good friend to people you love. Maybe you've spent years taking care of others and now you're taking control of your dating life. Well, good for you. I mean, this is really your time to put yourself first and make sure that the person you're with lives up to how you deserve to be treated. If you've been struggling with understanding how your partner really feels, just know that I'm here for you. And I'm proud of you for taking the steps to see things from your partner's perspective. Most people just don't put the time and effort to consume content that actually improves their lives because it takes work. Well, you're different, especially if you've made it this far in the video. And that's one of the things that makes you special. So I really appreciate you watching this video. I do hope that these tips help you own your power and feel fully in control of how you date and who you date. I'll see you again soon with more dating and love advice. And by the way, if you got value from this video and want to access my more advanced premium material that's only available to my private clients, just click the link in the description below. You're going to get a behind the scenes look at my step-by-step attraction system that will help you meet a high quality man fast.